All right, here is John Rolfe's green gold. This is a tobacco plant, and the leaves were picked and dried and sent over to England, and it made Virginia rich. This is what a tobacco plant looks like. All right, guys, here we are at the recreated historic Jamestown Settlement, established in 1609, right here where we are. John Smith and his group of English men and women developed a whole new world. And this is where that began, in this spot that you're seeing. You're seeing little houses that they could build. They used timber frame construction. There's two bells that they brought with them from England. Could ring the bells and hear those bells for miles to signal everybody to come back to the fort. You can tell the fort is got walls around it to keep the natives out and the animals out. And just over there, where those people are, is the blacksmith shop. And you always kept it in the corner away from everything else so you didn't burn down your whole village. But here is a large sleeping quarters. Over there is a workshop. Over here is their church or their school or their meeting hall. And there's various other houses around as well. You're looking at a tree right now. It's gotta be 400 years old. Those first settlers who stayed here probably stood under the shade of that tree just like that little boy is right now. All right, fifth graders. We are here in front of one of the officers' buildings in historic Jamestown. And there are some differences in this building that are for the officers of the Virginia Company or dignitaries that come in. The one thing you can see is the open fire pit, and you notice on the floor they have tile. That's the biggest difference. The other houses are just a dirt floor. And you can see all of their supplies, and they have nice dishes that close to keep the dirt out of their water or their whatever they're drinking. They have boxes to store their goods in. You have a nice table to sit at. And a lantern, indoor lighting. Also notice the candle on the table. Not everybody had a candle. If you had a candle, it meant that you could have conversations and stay up past nighttime to see things. And let's go over around the other side and look at of course, everybody had a little garden out front. And if you were going to grow a plant at that time, it was to help honeybees give you honey or grow a vegetable. But here is the corner where they would have slept. It's the little bed they had that was actually a real bed off the ground. You can see their suit of armor and their weapons hanging on the wall. And again, a candle and a real floor. This was as nice as it got in Jamestown, early America. All right, guys. Welcome to the warehouse. This building was the storehouse for the Jamestown Settlement. We're going to take a look inside and see what we can find. Have barrels full of provisions. Up above, you can see where they dried out the tobacco leaves. Those big green tobacco leaves I showed you. They would hang them in the rafters and dry them out so that they could ship them back to England. You can see all the rope and tools that they used at the time. very important building. This building kept everyone alive more than any other building here. It had to be highly guarded and kept secure at all times. All right, guys, pier and beam construction. This is called a timber frame building. They used pegs to hold everything together. And they were called tree nails. And over time, they adjusted tree nails to trunnels. So this peg right here is called a trunnel. And all these timbers, Jamestown, they made them with saws like this. And one person stood on each side of the saw and they moved it back and forth to cut the timber. It took a lot of work. So here's another version of Jamestown living. And if you're lucky, the blacksmith would make you a little hook and you could hang your hat on it. How about that? Let's take a look around. Here's the fireplace. Cutting firewood was a constant job that everybody worked on. And if we walk in here, we can see a typical bedroom for a typical soldier at Jamestown. Here's a neat science lesson from Jamestown. This is a large fireplace. This entire building was heated in the wintertime by this fireplace. But it's bigger than you think. You see, you build the fire, and the fire would heat up the brick, and the rock would absorb that heat, and then that heat would radiate out into the building and fill the whole space with heat. But if we come around the corner by the staircase, you can see that the fireplace wall would be hot, and all of those bricks go up into the top of the building, and so all of those bricks give off heat from that fire. They radiate heat into the rest of the building and the upstairs. So you had heat downstairs and you had heat upstairs. Sometimes it was warmer upstairs than it was downstairs. They could sure use good science.